But in the background, there was always a thing that she told me about her upbringing, because she wasn't happy with certain things that her dad had done in the past. And it's quite an unstable sort of upbringing. I always felt that, you know, I could kind of make her life better.
We can do.
Got her name? Right? Joe.
I do hope you're satisfied with your product. I love you.
Welcome, my friends. My name is Antoine Phoenix, and this is my RP experience. Peace and love to all my brothers and sisters out there. Thank you for hitting the like button, subscribing, sharing, and turn on all notifications so you know when I have a whole new video up. I have plenty of videos on my channel, so over 500. So if you're new, you can see some of my good work that you might have missed. Today's video is going to be about, and I'm not sure what I'm going to title this. I'm thinking my lover is a abuser, or my wife is a abuser. Actually, I think I might go with that one right there. And before I get into this video, I understand there are women that get abused by their husbands, their boyfriends, brutally get put in the hospital, physically. And that's the more easier one to see. And of course, emotionally. And of course, this is done in other ways. So I'm not discounting that this does not happen to women on a more regular basis. I don't know the statistics with that. Now, I will say sometimes, and actually, you know what? I'm going to get into that later. But for women that are going through what I'm about to show in this video, my heart goes out to you. You have to get out of that situation, and peace and love. Now, to men that's going through this, now it's different levels there, because I went through a similar thing with a person I was with the longest, and I never told anyone in my family anyway. And it's not like this person did it every day, but anytime they got frustrated or they was being mean to me and then I returned that energy, they did not like it. So they would say some things, I would say some things, and then it would get to they are putting hands on me, and then I just get away from them. And of course, when I would say things to them, yes, I could be very nasty, but they started it. And as Soldier 76 said, and that's usually how it goes. So let's begin with the video. And this is pretty much going to definitely be over an hour. Yes.
It's an awful thing to feel how I do about you. I absolutely fucking hate you.
Look at that person and just think how pathetic they were, how weak they were, how brainwashed they must have been. I don't want to accept that that was me.
So we go to the door and everything is absolutely beautiful. Thinking, I think we've got to the wrong house here. These videos couldn't have come from a house like this.
Get in there! Fucking chicken in, you fat cunt! Go on, you fuck off, cook it! You lazy bastard! 2 years and now
Bruh.
This has been going on for such a long time that, you know, this is who he is, withdrawn, broken. This is the father of your children, you know, you've been together for 20 years. Just emotionless, really, just didn't care.
And what you're holding in your right hand?
Yeah, it looks like a sharp object.
It's a sharp object, it's a carving knife.
I would say this, Sheree.
You do just do it. Go and screw away, you cunt.
That's another level of abuse that I still to this day can't comprehend.
Every time I looked at my sister, she couldn't look at me without starting to cry.
It is the worst case I've seen, without a shadow of a doubt. And I do think, yeah, there's a chance she would have killed him.
Did you, boy?
It's shown me that you can go to a leafy suburb with a Jaguar on a 6-figure salary and find a monster within it.
Go on, look. Yeah. Say it again if you like that. What are you on as time shown? In company 15 months. Upon arrival, I remember distinctly there was a Jaguar on the drive, and it's a large detached property.
I literally just put the kids to bed, and then there was a knock at the door. I didn't know who it was at the time, so I come downstairs and opened the door, and it was the police. And they said, "Do you know why we're here?" And I said, "Yeah, I think I know why you're here."
Big films.
His eyes were really, really sunken. I can still remember he had a white shirt on, but his eyes were really like sunken into the back of his head. As we walked into the address, she was inside on the right-hand side. She was in drink. She was drunk. Is it Sheree?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No worries.
No problem. I'll just let you know, Sheree, okay, just before you go any further, okay? So the time is 2010.
Yeah.
At this time, you're under arrest for common assault. She doesn't give any form of reply. She also doesn't seem shocked, which is strange. You'd expect something to be, why? What have I done? Why are you here? There was absolutely nothing of that. As we're walking up the stairs, she's kind of adjusting her nightie. What's wrong? Yeah, you're all right. We're just getting some gloves on. I remember covering my body camera because I didn't feel comfortable. So we've kind of gone up the stairs. As we've come up, she's got changed. And my colleague was looking after her. I've gone to speak to Richard, which is the first time I've ever spoke to him properly. As I say, he didn't say anything at the door. And I remember asking him, "Are you all right?" And he just sighs, like he just lets off this massive sigh, as if like the world had just been lifted. You're right.
Oh, really?
No.
Stop.
And then I'm sort of looking around, and I can see he's got a little bit of bruising on him, and there's a few potential marks on him. So I said, have you been assaulted? Have you been physically injured? And his reply is, not recently. We're here to look after you.
I don't want to ruin your life.
No, but I don't want her to ruin yours either. Okay. So will you still be up when we come back?
I'll stop you.
Yeah, perfect. No problem, mate. We'll, she's just getting dressed. We'll take her out to Clough Road, and then we'll come back and we'll have a chat. We'll go through some paperwork and stuff with you, okay?
I turned around, and my eldest daughter was stood halfway downstairs, and I could see that the police were there.
Are your children's there, so a little girl? Can you make sure your children's in bed, please?
You should maybe so upset.
So So I quickly turned around to take her back upstairs, and I took her into the spare room, and she was saying, "Oh, where's Mummy going?" And I didn't know what to tell her, so I just sort of, just going with the police for now, and I just had no answers to give her.
Quickly, can you shove me? Go on, you want to see?
Go. Nobody's seen you.
Be out sick, please.
They haven't.
When I shut the door and locked it, I knew that she wasn't coming back. It was like the biggest weight possible of like lifting off my shoulders, because I felt like I just felt like such a massive relief to know that at least that night that she won't be here.
For now, yeah.
Yeah, follow us down.
No.
She's laughing and joking with the custody sergeant. She's being almost, I'd argue, flirtatious with the custody sergeant. Custody sergeant's having none of it.
Are you married?
Yeah.
If your wife tried to divorce you 17 times within a year and 4 months, would you not think, hang on a minute, I'm doing something wrong?
And then it's, oh, do I have to go in a cell? Can I have a cell with a window? Can I have a cell? Can I have the door open? Can you come in with me? Yeah, I'll get a phone.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I'll go get your phone.
Okay, let me stop right there. This is the thing that I notice with women that have hand problems, that are physically abusive to their man or other people. There's a case allegedly that Amber Heard was abusive to her ex-girlfriends, and especially one ex-girlfriend in particular that is another actress named, I think her name is Chloe something. I know she's been in some movies I've watched. She's like a real slender, dirty blonde, which I believe her hair is dyed because the roots look like it's black. But anyway, women that do that particular thing, they seem very unremorseful after they get caught in the act of doing that. It's almost like they definitely fault the other person for them putting their hands on them. And of course, I know there are men that do the same thing, but usually when that man is being taken into custody or something, he will at least fess up, or he might downplay, but he'll at least admit that something happened. Those types of women will act like they did nothing wrong. The dude kind of fell onto their fist or whatever they was using to hit the dude, and of course they will say that they was being abused. Let's continue.
I think I just pretty much stared into space for probably about 3 hours, because it seemed surreal, really. I didn't really know how to process it. I just sat there, and I think I probably put something on in the background on TV. I was just waiting then for the police to come.
Hey, apologies about the delay.
I'll wait for that's very nice.
If it's possible for a 6 foot man to look 4 foot tall, that's how I describe it. He's hunched over, and he starts then recounting what happened. Is this the first injury that's occurred from Sheree?
No.
No. And then, if I say the gates of hell opened, everything just came out. What's happened previously?
Well, it's gone on for probably about 20 years.
And he recounts 20 years of abuse.
It's an awful feeling to feel how I do about you. I fucking hate you.
I always felt that Sheree was a really nice, kind, caring person, but she had like a dark side. She was like 5-10%. This darkness came over, and she'd lash out and she'd be angry.
What's wrong with you? I've told you that. Express how I feel. What's wrong with you?
But the 90% of the time, she was kind, she was thoughtful, she was caring. She was fun. She was like almost like a perfect girlfriend. But in the background, there was always a thing that she told me about her upbringing, because she wasn't happy with certain things that her dad had done in the past. And it's quite an unstable sort of upbringing. I always felt that, I could kind of make her life better.
So pathetically bored about you going, I just hope something changes. Well, what will change?
I think the first time I remember any kind of drunken argument, being out drinking and come back to the flat, I remember her picking up like a lamp, a glass lamp, and throwing it on the floor and it breaking. And then she was shouting and screaming, and she was pushing me backwards.
I don't want you anymore.
The lady who lived upstairs, she'd banged on the floor.
Get away from us!
Because she could hear the noise. So I'd wrote a note apologising, but Sheree wasn't happy about me writing the note and didn't want me to write it, and said, it's normal for people to have arguments, and, we'd had a few drinks, who cares what anyone else thinks? Almost like normalised. It's, it's normal for couples to argue. We've got nothing to be sorry for.
You had no manners before. Well, fucking learn manners. So the next time I ask you to go and get me, fucking it is, you're gonna jump like a cunt.
It didn't ring any alarm bells. I didn't think to myself that, wow, what am I getting myself into? Is this what, my life's going to become, these kind of drunken arguments? And also I thought it was probably going to be a one-off. I felt like we'd get married, we'd have children, I would make her happy. Not save her, if you like, but I just felt like I could be a positive influence in life and make up for the unhappy things in her childhood that she told me about.
Well, what will change? Being married to you. What will change?
I remember Sheree saying, I think it's time now that we should try for children. Maybe after, I don't know, 6 months or something, of just sort of trying casually almost, and it wasn't working out. And she'd say, well, to double our chances, let's do it twice on that day. And physically, it just wasn't possible for me to do it that many times, and to do it like on demand, if you like. And then it started, some things would get nasty and saying, oh, you're not a man. You should be able to just do this one thing. That's all you've got to do.
Pathetic bastard. Know what I do today. I'd never have married you.
The act of having sex, it had become just something that I dreaded, because we weren't doing it out of love, we weren't doing it out of pleasure. I almost dreaded the days when we would have to do it. Went to see a specialist. So the course of treatment which was recommended was IVF. It came as a relief, because I knew then that, we wouldn't need to be having, intercourse all these times. And when it actually happened, it was just complete joy, and I couldn't believe how amazing she was, and how much love you could feel for something instantly. So I thought, well, that's it now. She's going to be happy. Slowly then, over time, incrementally, sort of the insults and insinuations that started to kind of creep back in.
You've got a complete fucking attitude, bitchy cunt of a wife from now on. You've had it fucking very easy. You've had it very, very nice.
think probably things that probably affected me more than the physical attacks would be the sort of more demoralising things that she would do to me. So in the kitchen we'd quite often have 12 or more eggs in a box, and then she would get a few of the eggs and she'd crack them on my head, and then she would like push them into my face, and like she would be so angry sometimes that like the eggshell would like cut into my skin. First of all, I have to go upstairs and have a shower to get all the egg and stuff out of my hair and out of my clothes. I would feel hopeless a lot of the time after things like that had happened.
Keep cleaning, you cunt. Go on, you dirty bitch. Go on, keep scrubbing, man. Scrub away, you bitch.
I would think sometimes, I don't know how it could have got to this, how could it have got from the start to being just so out of control and so horrifically bad as it had got. So I have trouble remembering a lot of specific incidents when Sheree had attacked me. But one of the incidents I do remember, I think she'd been drinking. I think she maybe had a couple of bottles of wine maybe that day.
Come give fuck. Come give fuck. Come give fuck. Do something.
She started getting angry about something. I can't remember what it was. It would be something I'd done or I hadn't done. And then she just kind of got up off the sofa and she'd picked up the wine bottle. She'd come round and hit me on my ear with the wine bottle.
Sheree, fucking move at my face then. Fucking get out of it! You fucking ugly bastards.
I basically just almost ran away and went upstairs into the spare room. I took some pictures of the injuries because even for her it had gone further than it normally would. The day after that, we were in the bedroom, and we were just chatting on the bed, and then I can't remember what it was. I'd said something about that I wasn't happy about. I think I'd said my ear was really hurting, and I can't believe she'd hit me on my ear on the head with a wine bottle. And then she sort of warned me and said to stop talking about it, because if I didn't stop talking about it, she was going to do something worse. And while I was on the floor, she bent down and she started punching me, and she started punching me in my ear that she'd already injured. And I was like screaming out in pain because it was like the most painful thing I've ever experienced, because it was already swollen, it was already damaged. And then she was punching it, and I was begging her to stop. I was literally begging her to stop, saying, "Not my ear, just stop it." I was begging her to stop. And then she started kicking me in my ear. And then I will have been screaming by that time, because the pain was like not just the worst pain I've probably experienced. And then she said that if she wanted to, she could go into the bathroom, and she could smash her face in the mirror and get some of the glass, and then cut herself with the glass. And then she said I could ring the police, or I'll send a picture to my friend. I'll take a picture and tell it to a friend or a neighbour, and say that you'd done it. And then she'd say, and once I've done that, and I'll be able to get a restraining order against you, so that you won't be able to see our baby. And then she'd go over to the window, and she'd open the window really wide, and then she'd shout out the window, Richard, stop it, you're hurting me, stop hitting me.
Hitting me all the time! Hitting me because you're drunk! Because if you want me to be a cunt, Rich, I have been silent.
And then she'd close the window, she'd come back up to me and say, there, and she'd say, I'm much cleverer than you, you'll never win. And then something just changed in me then. I thought, well, there's no way I'm gonna let that happen. So I thought, well, I'll get my own evidence then.
Get in there. Cook the fucking chicken in. Get in there. Cook the fucking chicken in. You fat cunt. Go on the fuck off and cook it. You lazy bastard. But you haven't, have you? That's the point.
My life changed a little bit when I was 9, when my mum died. And I kind of knew that she was ill, that things were different. It was just before Christmas and she was in bed. I just remember it being really dark and not being able to see her. My dad took me and my sister into the sitting room, and then he told us that my mum had died. And it was almost like a physical pain, almost. I remember what it was like, and that I was fighting it, like not holding back the tears. I don't know if I thought it was show weakness or because I was a boy that I shouldn't cry. But then when Sheree would say all these horrible things to me, I think I did the same thing. I could suppress it because I'd done it before when I felt upset about my mum dying. So she used to say that I was like a robot, because she knew that she could say these really hurtful things, but I wouldn't get angry, I wouldn't retaliate, I wouldn't do anything. I would just sit there.
Oh, let me jump in on this. This is what you call being stoic, taking it on the chin, not letting things bother you, being a man. Now, I understand. See, this is why I don't believe in extremes. Yes, as a man especially, I can't go boo-hoo, oh, life is too much. It's too much. I can't take it or something. Or you're hurting my feelings. Yes, we cannot react like that. Women can get away with that. See, there are some double standards you kind of have to take. Not all of them, though, but that's one of those double standards that women can get away with, that men cannot. Because once a woman doesn't respect you, gosh, I definitely know this from my marriage. And even in a relationship period, once she doesn't respect you, she starts escalating. She doesn't, like I said with that person, she had nothing in her. And being in the situation, I did not see this particular thing. I did not notice this particular thing. She did not have anything in her to say, hey, I'm being really mean and nasty right now. I should maybe tone it down or stop. No, she's going to keep the foot on the freaking neck. And I can see that now with the knowledge and experience I have now. And I've always been good at looking at somebody else's situation and stepping back and analyzing it and seeing where they went wrong. But sometimes when I'm in the situation, I can't totally see the forest from the trees right there. So I'm not blaming the victim, but I am saying the victim has some responsibility. The woman as well. Like, leave that man. Now, of course, though, if you are in a situation that your life feels threatened, or you made a mistake and got with the drug lord or the person that's totally psycho, then you have to take creative steps to get away from them. But either way, you have to get away from them, because it's not going to get any better, it's going to get worse. And that's the same thing with the women. Once they know you are their punching bag and that you can take it, they're not going to stop. They're not going to be like, hey, I think I hit him enough, even though I'm not saying she won't do something and then walk away, but when she stops, it's because he is totally submitted and laid down. And I'm pretty sure, knowing how a lot of women are, She's still chapping in the other room, talking shit or something. So this is on him picking up with this. And this is where being stoic, it is what it is, handle it like a man, comes back to bite you in the ass. This is how our masculinity actually gets used against us. So yes, deal with things in a direct way. Don't fall apart with stuff. But with something, when somebody's disrespecting you, the same way if a man's disrespecting you, if a woman's disrespecting you, you have to nip that shit in the bud. Don't let it go. Don't let it pass, because kind of like that neighborhood bully or that bully in high school, they're not going to stop. They're just going to keep on doing it. And this is why when people are talking about narcissists and implying that only men can be narcissists, she's a narcissist or a sociopath or both. Well, you can't be both. Or she's just an evil individual. Because I know a lot of people throw those words around. But that's not a good person right there. That is not. And it doesn't matter the trauma that she's been through if she hasn't got therapy or help. And she's just using her husband as an outlet to let off steam. Let's continue.
And she could say quite horrific things about my mum and my sister, saying, "Oh, I hope your sister dies from breast cancer," when she was, wanting to be particularly nasty.
Hope your fucking dies quick. I hope she's dead.
I wouldn't really let any of her hurtful comments really get to me, and I really buried my feelings of wanting to cry and sadness, and always put on a front that I was fine, but inside I was really upset.
You know, Roger, your mummy died. I fucking died being related to you.
Oh. Say again? That's why I didn't slam it. Just read. Just try your best.
When I first came in on duty that day, there was something about the station that was a bit different. My colleagues who were the arresting officers, they were still on duty, which was unusual. And there was just something in the air about this job that really, really touched all the officers that had been working on it overnight. So when I came on, there was already some energy about it that was different to all the other cases that I've dealt with before. To have the videos with us to prove and back up what Richard was saying is quite a unique situation to be in.
Fucking created. Fucking get your grip huge times. Pass it a call. Is he great yet? 9 times, that? 2.
The first video I watched, I had to pause several times. I had to collect my emotions, my own emotions. Even when my second officer came to help me with the interviews, he could already see that I'd welled up in the morning. So there's something about those videos that I just really, that I really found emotive, really. The shirt does Richard. He likes being smart, but as he was telling us, he would know when he was going to be subjected to abuse. So he would change his clothes to a popper shirt.
If I think she's going to be violent, then quite often I'll change into my shirt popper stuff, because then I know if she's violent towards me, then it's unlikely to be with me. Probably just pull the popper stuff.
I'm sorry, Richard, that's just completely flawed, man.
I'm sorry.
That behaviour. When do you think that behaviour came? Eh? The problem is in your marriage is because of you. Couldn't fuck you. I couldn't fuck you and the baby, man. Do you understand that? I couldn't fuck you to have a baby.
There'll be a big black square there, and you can't see it, but it's on camera, it is. So don't worry, I've got some privacy, I guarantee you that, I promise you. If you desperately need a wee, you're alright.
And my main concern at that point was, is Sheree going to come back? Because I always thought, is she going to be released on bail? Is she going to come back to the house? I thought, if they think it's 50-50, what are they going to do about the children? If they think I'm just as bad as her, I'm bigger than her, I'm stronger than her, they might think, I'm just as bad, I'm hitting her, I've been doing these things to her, and they might think that neither of us are fit enough to look after the children. If someone had been through the same thing that I'd been through, however many years it went on, and all the pain and all the attacks, all the times she attacked me, if someone was to say, I couldn't take anymore, and I hit them back and I punched them, I could understand it.
Get off! Get off me! That fucking room tidied. Oh, snap. Look at you.
When the pain got too much, I would hold the hands down and then I would physically restrain her, whether it's on the chair or possibly on the floor. I'd hold her down. And the problem was that whenever I let her go, the fact that I'd been held in her and I was controlling her in her mind stopped her from hurting me and doing what she wanted to do. She would be 10 times angrier than before. The way I would deal with things instead would be, my main priority was to make sure that I could still take the girls to school or nursery as they got a little bit older. So it would be a conscious decision for me to get myself into a fetal position and protect my face with my hands, so that I didn't get any bruises or cuts and things on my face, so that I could still take the kids to school or nursery.
And he was disclosing all this abuse, which he may have felt ashamed of, or he may feel like he was kind of responsible in some way, which I kind of felt he was alluding to. He kind of deserved it in some weird sense, but whether that's just because he's been conditioned in such a way of 20 years of abuse that he believes that he's the problem, or that in some way Sheree's right in what she's doing, which again, it just solidified that this has been going on for such a long time, that this is him essentially. This is who he is, withdrawn, broken.
Why are you going in a room? Why are you going in a room?
The videos, to an extent, they showed normality within a home, and no sort of abuse like that or domestic incident should ever be normalised. Those girls were comfortable in the house, they were happy, and yet all this horror was going on around them, and they would still play on their pads, and they would still go to their dads, and they didn't seem distressed, and yet what I was witnessing was very distressing to me.
Time, we had 3 children, we were married. What could be missing? What could possibly change in our lives that was going to have an impact and make her change? So I'd kind of given up hope, thinking that she was going to change. But by that time, I felt completely trapped. I felt like I was in the situation, there was no way out. I couldn't leave the relationship myself because I couldn't risk leaving the children with her.
And I will hear women say that, especially for men, they're not trapped in a relationship. This is how men, if he's a good or a decent man, a stand-up guy, this is how he gets trapped in a relationship with the wrong woman, especially a marriage, especially when you have kids with the wrong woman. Okay? This is a clear example. Because of course he could leave. And there's only some cases that a man can leave a woman and don't get totally wrecked by the court system. Some men have done it, like Steve Harvey, a man that a lot of women hold to high esteem because he made that damn book about Think Like a Man. But when you look at his exes, especially, okay, I don't know all his exes, but I know his ex before Marjorie, he was able to take the kids and prove that the woman's unfit. That's the only way you can get the kids from the woman. And of course, that takes a man that's really cutthroat and cold. I couldn't do that with the woman that I was with, even though she's a good mom. And I always separate how I feel about the person and I always look at the whole situation. But if it was flipped around, she would have no mercy. I know she wouldn't. Because she said things, even though she didn't follow through with some of the things that she said. But this is the thing too. When a person can say some of the most mean, hurtful things in the heat of battle, because a lot of times, even though I'm mad and furious at the woman or the person that I love, there's some lines I will not cross. Those types of people, women like that, they will cross the line. They will step right across that line and we'll be like, "Uck you." Meanwhile, a couple of years earlier, or even a week earlier, you are the love of their life. They love you so much. But yet, they will totally try to destroy you. So now, this is why when I'm getting involved with women, hey, I don't mind if you have an opinion, if you can think for yourself, if you can say when something's bothering you, but if you have no filter, no buffer, nothing in you to say, let's have a calm conversation. Yes, we disagree. I'm angry, but I'm not going to escalate to another level. It's something I'm forgetting very important right here. But if I did not explain it well, this is why, this day and age, especially if you are a good, decent man, this is why you should be leery about getting married. Women, if you're wondering, yes, sometimes men that have like a lot of 304s or a roster is scared to give that up. But men that's going to put skin in the game, this is why we will be scared to totally marry you. And especially we should be scared to have kids with you. Because when you decide to be a she devil or get bored, we lose everything. 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 Meanwhile, you gain everything. This is the difference. You gain everything except probably you lose the man. But you are tired of the man anyway. So it's not really a loss for you because you get the kids and you get any assets that you two have accrued together. Meanwhile, the man is like loss, 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 loss. So I don't really see a reason to do that, especially in the US right now. And I'm pretty sure there are women that won't do that, but I have not met one yet. And of course, like Coach Greg Adams say, it's only a matter of time because she could be an angel today and a she devil tomorrow, especially when she get a new job, more money, different friends, hanging around different people, getting attention from higher caliber men. These women these days are not built like the women's in the 80s and the 70s. I'm not even going to say 90s because when I was growing up in that era, those women were suspect as well. So this video was not almost done because I think is about a good half an hour more, but I don't think I'm going to cover this whole thing because this is depressing, but it's something I needed to share. Let's continue.
But also in the back of my mind, I know she'd been shouting things out of the window, saying that I was hurting her. I knew that she'd had these pictures of bruises on her wrists from when I've restrained her. She'd said that she'd told her certain friends that I'd hit her.
Richard wanted to hide the abuse as much as Sheree did. And he went to great lengths to do that.
I have, memories of going away to do these conferences and then having a black eye or a bust nose or bruised lip, whatever it might be, and having to pack along with my toiletries like my shower gel and hair gel, some of Sheree's makeup. So I would have like some of her foundation, sometimes two different types of foundation, and then like a powder thing. I just think it was like, look at that person and just think how pathetic they were, how weak they were, how brainwashed they must have been. And I don't feel like that's me. But that's why I've disassociated it from myself. I think it's a kind of disassociated memory. I don't like thinking about it because I don't want to accept that that was me. We've been invited to a barbecue next door, and our next door neighbours are really, and they're really friendly, and we couldn't ask for better neighbours, more friendly neighbours.
And so Richard arrived with the three girls, and he said, "Oh, Sheree's probably not going to come until later." We said, "Oh, that's fine." And so the evening wore on. The children were all playing, and we were all sort of chatting, just relaxing. And then suddenly, over the fence, Sheree's face appeared. And she looked a little dishevelled. The hair was in a bit of a mess. And I was just about to say hello. And she said, "Get those children to bed now." And poor Richard, I thought, oh, gosh. And I said, "Are you going to be all right?" Because I didn't know anything at this time. And he said, "Yes, no, I'll be fine. I'll take the girls." I said, "Well, look, do come back, afterwards, because we're going to be here for a while."
And so Richard kind of apologised and disappeared off. And it was really when he came back that he started to open up.
And I said, "Are you all right?" And then, the whole world just really exploded.
He was struggling with the environment he was living in at home. He talked about that she would drink quite a lot.
I think she'd asked him to perhaps go to the shop for wine or something, I think it was. He hesitated and looked at her, and she said, "Right." Then she picked up a carving knife and took it outside and slashed the car tyres. And there was another awful story when the three little girls were in the back of the car. Sheree was in the passenger seat. Richard was driving, and she kicked the wing mirror, I think, and she kicked his rear view mirror, and then she proceeded to wee on the seat and said, "Sort that out."
And I remember distinctly, I kind of sat down next to him and just held his hand, because he was obviously getting quite emotional at the time, and just said, "You don't have to put up with this." And he said to me, he goes, "But I don't want to ruin anyone's life." And I can distinctly remember this, and I held his hand tight and basically just said to him, "She's ruining your life, Richard."
She would say, "You've got this, Richard," and I can still hear her saying those words in her voice in my mind. And then, because I told some people about when I went back to the house that evening, I felt a bit more stronger, ready to confront things. I remember walking in the house, I could still hear Emma's words in my mind saying, "You've got this, Richard, you've got this." Something had changed then. I felt more confident about things and recognised that things weren't right, and I felt like I could take some control back, I think. I started to feel relief. It was such a relief that I told someone about it and listened about it, and it just felt, I don't know, I felt relief to know that someone else knew what she could be like, and she'd done that many hurtful things to me. I don't think I didn't love her anymore, that anyone could reasonably call love, but I did still care about her. I didn't want anything bad to happen to her. I didn't want her to get into any trouble. I just wanted her to stop hitting me and to stop being verbally aggressive towards me, and I just wanted the abuse to stop. So shortly after that happened, Right. Sheree was in an angry state. She'd been drinking, and she'd phoned up one of my oldest friends, Tony, and she'd phoned him up, and she told him that I was drunk and I was being really argumentative, and she didn't know what to do. And she would have sounded quite drunk on the phone because it was her that was actually drunk. And he was really concerned by the phone call, so much so that he said, "Okay, I'm going to come down to see you." So I came in, we sat in the lounge, and Sheree did all the talking. She was saying, "Look, we're not getting on," and she blamed me. She said, "Oh, Richard's drinking too much, and it's causing arguments." She basically said it was all my fault. So he just sat there and listened to what she said, and then he said, I'd like to speak to you both, separately." And Tony started walking out the room, and she mouthed to me to say, "You better not say anything." And we walked down the street, and he was saying, those things aren't right. And he asked me how I'd got the bruise on my face. And I told him that she'd done it, and I got upset about it, and then he said, "It happened before," and I says, "Yeah," and he says, "How long has it gone on for?" And I says, "Forever, really."
You didn't do that with him because you haven't got the fucking common sense to do anything artistic or creative. Did you, bud? Hey, what of that? Oh, fuck this. Look, why don't we both say it and tell them that you're afraid of Daddy? He's just horrible. He's a horrible, horrible little man. Then we'll get rid of him soon, won't we? Fucking where I get my arm again. Smack the fuck out of you.
And then they went away, and I thought, well, I'll send some videos of the evidence I've got of what Sheree had done to me, to Tony, and see for him to watch them and tell me. I think I said something like, "Can you tell me if I'm overreacting or if I'm doing the right thing?" Because I really didn't trust my own decision making, and I sent him the videos, and then a little bit later he gave me a call, and he said, "You're definitely not overreacting," and he said that they'd been affected quite badly by what he'd seen. He says, "I'm worried about you." He says, "It's obvious that Sheree's really drunk again. I know that that she's been physically abusive towards you." And he says, "Things haven't got any better." And he says, I don't think things are going to get any better for you." Just wait a second. So he says, "I know you don't want me to tell anyone, but he says, I've got to do what I think's the right thing to do." So he says, "I'll probably have to do something that, you might not necessarily think's good for you, you might not agree with at the time. But he says, I hope that, I hope that eventually, after I've done it, that you'll forgive me, and you'll know I did it for the right reasons."
So that was without your consent, he sent him on.
Yeah, I stopped blaming him for that. But yeah, it was without my consent. And then I got a call from the lady saying that she'd seen the videos, and she said she thought it was some of the worst videos she's ever seen, and she was in tears when she watched it. So she said that she'd seen the fact that the two girls had witnessed it. So she said because of that, she's got a legal requirement now to take action on that.
Do you understand that, Richard?
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I'll let them down.
We haven't let them down, Richard.
I would analyse the kids myself, and I got to think I probably got to a point where I would over-analyse things. So a lot of the things that behaviours they might have, a normal parents would think it would be just part of growing up. I can never think that, because I always think, is it just normal part of growing up, or is it because of what they've witnessed Sheree do to me, or what they've heard Sheree do to me? So during arguments, it would be our eldest daughter that she would say to, why do you go next door to the neighbour and tell the neighbour that daddy's hitting mummy, or tell them that daddy's a nasty man. And, and I would reassure her, I would say to her that, if mummy asks her anything, when she's angry, I would say to her, it doesn't matter what you say to mummy in front of daddy. I used to say, you just tell mummy what you think mummy wants you to say. And I said, I'll always love you. So it doesn't matter what you say if in front of me to mummy. And she'd say, okay. And then I'd say, okay. And I'd give her a wink. And then inevitably an argument would happen later on. And she would say something along the lines of, do you want daddy to stay in the house, or do you want him to go? And would look at me, and obviously she wouldn't want me to go, but she would look back at mum and say, I want daddy to go, I want daddy to leave. And then she would say, see, as ridiculous as it sounds, or, no one wants you, everyone wants you to leave. And then when her mum wasn't looking, and she'd turn around, and then my eldest daughter then would turn and look at me, and she would smile, and then she would try and give a wink to show that she knew that I was okay with what she'd said, and she wasn't in any trouble, so that she didn't feel upset by it.
I believe he even told me once, had she have just left the abuse behind closed doors from their children, had she have just kept it separate, he wouldn't have got anyone else involved, because he felt like he was handling it. He felt like he was in control of it. He felt that he could put up with the abuse if it meant that he got the family life that he wanted and that he felt like he deserved. So he was happy, to an extent, to continue their dysfunctional family if it meant that he had a family to go home to. And it was the risk of losing that family that drove him to collect all his exhibits. He didn't want to collect any evidence against his wife. He wanted his wife to turn out to be happy, and he tried to do everything he could to make her happy. They had children. It was a long journey for them. He worked really hard. He had a really stressful job. She had a stressful job as well. They were both working hard to get to where they wanted to be, but they never seemed to be able to reach the destination that they were getting to. And they never got to the stage where Sheree was happy. Despite Richard, that's all he wanted to do.
Probably one of the most, demoralising things would be, we were in the bedroom, and we were sat on the bed, and she told me to get off the bed. And she bought the bed on her credit card, and she said that bed belonged to her, so I didn't have any right to sit on the bed. But she still wanted to argue, and I didn't want it to escalate, so I said, all right. So I sat on the floor next to the bed, and I was still chatting to her. So she sat on the bed, I'm sat on the floor chatting to her, and then she said, oh, she needs to go to the toilet, or she just got up to go to the toilet. So she went in the bathroom, and then I was just sat on the floor, facing away from where the bathroom was. And then the next minute, Sheree was kind of on top of me, and then I didn't really know what was going on. And the next minute, I realised that she defecated on my head.
2 years on there.
Bruh. Trying to turn this Sheree.
You do just go and scrub away your cunt. Clean my shit up.
Wow. Just wow. I know there are dudes laughing somewhere. And that's another thing I want to bring up real quick. Is the only support this man really had was from women. women, his neighbors in the community. I guess he had no guy friends. But if he did, well, okay, not close guy friends, because I know my close guy friends wouldn't do it to that extent. But most men would find this funny. They would find this whole situation funny. This is why, once again, while I look at women, especially their behavior, because I don't hate women, but I hate a lot of things that y'all do and what y'all get away with. But men is about the same thing, especially with the behavior. Men will make videos about this type of stuff, and then when it's happening in real life, they'll either turn and don't get involved, or either they will find it funny, snickering in the background. And that's the issue that I have with at least 60% of men when men are going through shit, because y'all don't fucking care. Y'all don't care. So that's why I can't turn my back on women, because that is where usually they are ahead of us, because they will have empathy for another woman. Now, of course, though, that empathy can be misplaced, because the woman could be pulling on their heartstrings and telling them a story. But in cases like this, the support system is 9 times out of 10 going to come from women. Okay, so I'm calling men out here that if you know a dude that's going through a particular thing, especially if he's a friend of yours, don't be in the corner laughing. Pull that dude to the side and tell him that he need to get out of that situation, because it's not fucking funny. Okay? It's not funny. What else more can I add to this? I think it's about 15 minutes more of this. If you want to see what happens to this woman, and I will spoil one thing, even in the end, she still doesn't care. She still has no remorse, because she has no respect for that man. And I can kind of see, and this is where, yeah, being nice is a weakness. I mean, be nice to people, but if they're giving you crap and treating you like trash, you have to stand up for yourself and give that back, or either definitely get out. I'm not saying for people to stoop down to the level of the people that are abusing them, because this is where I think a lot of men do get in trouble with. Because, okay, I'll use this example right here, because a lot of times, especially now, because my antennas are up, I'll hear a toxic couple. She's toxic and he's toxic. She's pushing his buttons, he's pushing her buttons. She might go overboard, like maybe hit him, or either say something really hurtful, like that woman was saying about, I hope your sister die and I don't care about your mom, or something like that. I never went through that particular thing with any of my exes. So even though my exes were flawed, they was not on that level. But once again, I was not with them. Well, I wasn't with that person to that extent, but she was getting up there. She was starting to get up there. So even though I did the thing to put the kibosh on the marriage, she definitely wasn't making me want to fight for the relationship. Not in that way. And if I didn't totally say with that example of the two toxic individuals in the relationship, she's going to do something and then he's going to respond and maybe be violent. And when the story comes out, she's going to be boo-hooing, saying, oh, he was so abusive to me. And you two was abusing each other. It's just that he was the one that snapped. So I will say, with any man that's in this particular situation, don't be like him, taking it on the chin, trying to be stoic, holding masculine frame, even though masculine frame can also mean putting a person in check. But what if the person is getting out of check and your words or you threatening can also be interpreted as being abusive or domineering or controlling or something that she can use to say that you are not a good individual and you are the abuser. See? It doesn't go well when it's flipped around. But when women are doing this particular thing, and not all women will do this because it's a personality thing, but I know women that are more aggressive, more boss bay, more opinionated or something. This is the kind of energy that this could happen with. Now, those women that are like nice and docile and real feminine, you don't have to worry about this too much. Now, they may do the nagging thing, the passive aggressive thing of like not talking to you or something, but fine, I'll deal with that. But that stuff of straight trying to push me over the edge and putting your hands on me or something, that's an accident waiting to happen. My mistake is I always came back. And every time I'm in a conversation with that person that I used to be with, and she's talking about some other love interest that she's talking about. And she will say, yeah, once a person does a certain thing, I look at them a certain kind of way and I can't fuck with them like that again. In so many words, that's what she'll say. Now, she'll always say that to me. Now, I don't know if she's trying to send me the memo or the message because of the mistake I did, but I will say, fine, but fuck you with that because you crossed the line so many times and I let it go. So I should have kept that same energy because it was you been did violations that should have been in. But once we had a kid, especially once we had a kid, and even when we moved, I felt it would have been wrong for me just to up and leave a person. But especially when we had a family, I didn't want to totally step away. But see, that was my mistake because I got myself in that situation. And by that time, I was starting to see how the person was. And I guess I expected a different result because I kept thinking the person was going to return back to the person long ago, even though that person had problems too. But however, it was some love there. We had some really good times. But that person never returned back to that, really. And that was before it even got to the extent. So they kept doing certain things. But however, though, getting off my situation with this dude right here, yes, he shouldn't have got himself in that situation in the first place. And actually, he should have picked a woman that was more like him. But see, opposites attract. So he picked a bitchy woman that he thought he could fix. And that can never work. And he did everything to try to make her happy, and it still wasn't enough. So this is why men say don't try to make women happy. Now, I don't believe in that extreme right there because if you are in close proximity to a person or living with a person, what that person do can affect you in different ways. Otherwise, people wouldn't have boundaries. Okay? Part of the reason to have boundaries is to keep people from affecting you too much or making you feel uncomfortable. That's what boundaries are there for. So I don't go with that thing that a person cannot help make you happy or help make you stressed out or depressed. But it's only when you put that your total happiness onto them. And as men, stop trying to save these women. Women, if you have a toxic guy, stop trying to fix him just because he in both cases is because the person is attractive, and we think, well, if we just make a tweak here and there, it'll work out. It doesn't work out that way. Find that person that's already like that, and then you can maybe go somewhere. So that's pretty much, I guess, my message is today. If you are in an abusive relationship, get out of it. But I know the person showed you signs of this before you tied the knot and before you had kids, because he actually admitted it when he was telling the story. So he was weak there with seeing the train wreck coming, and because he already invested, he wanted to go down with the ship. As men, don't do that. Look, get your money up, get yourself either network engineer, become an engineer, doctor, lawyer, or something. Get your money up and travel out. Not to say those women that are foreign is that much better, but going by my few experiences out there and then in here, I'm tired of going through the stuff that I go through in the States, period. Off the bat, off the rip, with either the attitude or either is like I'm climbing up the hill or something, and then I'm going to be going through this same type of drama. I want to at least meet somebody that wants to be with me, like off the bat. And for once, they're putting me up there instead of me having to try to get her interested into me. Even though sometimes you get those instances that you and the woman both like each other or she like you, but it seems like these days anyway, women have, and I'm going by my own experiences, they have a lot of friends and stuff, and they're trying to fill out who's going to be their guy. And even if they have a guy, they're still somewhat entertaining other guys. Not that you can't have friends, but you should not have best friends. And that's another video. So you guys hit the like button, subscribe, have a good day. Thanks for being here. See my other videos and like my videos more. Thank you. God bless.
I got you. Go ahead.
And this is where it started. So short, sweet, loving and little, and then...
Fuck! Say! What the? Hey, B! Stop trying to be seen!
Best friend, go!
Oh! This is how money! This is how you make your money! Yes! I was worried about drugs! I was gonna get drugs!
No.
Say another motherfucking word! Say another motherfucking word!
You drilling my shit like this, you gonna be mine forever.
Take it back! Take it back! Take it back!
So I finally decided to stand up for myself. And,
Piece of shit! Oh my god!
yeah.
The stress, I can't.
This is where they got me.
Oh my god! The stress.
I sentence you to life, no parole.
She called the cops on me for yelling at her and told them I beat her.
Don't worry.
Hashtag endless.
dirty word.